Obama's CIA director, John Brennan, referred to DOJ for prosecution. Oh, retribution. It's not retribution. The guy's accused of lying in front of Congress. Would only Republicans go to prison over that? That allegation? CNN's future's at stake. Owner Warner Brothers Discovery is seeking a sale. They're not going to get much. That's for sure. Let's see here. Putin-Trump summit on hold after Russia rejects ceasefire. I think at some point we'll understand as a country and as a government what Russia is and is not, and who Putin is. Putin's KGB. Putin admires Stalin. Putin talks about cutting through Ukraine and going after Poland and so forth. So I don't know why we don't believe the man, what he's written, what he says, and who he is. Now, there's a lot of time spent today. We have Jared Kushner and Stephen Witkoff over in Israel. We have the vice president over in Israel. We have the CENTCOM, Cooper General. He's over in Israel. So what's going on over in Israel? Well, I'll tell you what must be going on over in Israel. And no, I do not have any inside information. I do not seek inside information. Unless the president calls me, or Jared calls me, or Witkoff calls me, or something like that. But I don't talk to the ambassador or the ambassador's staff, including my stepson. This is just stuff I'm reading and gauging, because I've been around a little while. The concern seems to be that Israel will say, hey, look, Hamas is out of control. You're not disarming Hamas. You're not removing Hamas. Hamas killed 2 IDF soldiers yesterday and wounded many more. We have Qatar putting out these outrageous statements. The emir put out outrageous statements. We have Turkey that wants to destroy us. You're relying on them. I mean, here's a headline, New York Post. Israel shares video of Hamas torturing, executing Palestinians as they beg for relief. Urges journalists to shine a light on the atrocities. No, they won't. Doesn't involve Israel. Washington Free Beacon. Hamas commandeers schools and hospitals to interrogate its Gazan opponents. All of a sudden, nobody cares about the life of the Palestinians but the Israelis. It's incredible. Certainly not in our country. New York Times. Nations hesitate to send troops to Gaza, fearing clashes with Hamas. So this big volunteer force of Arab and Muslim countries so far? No. President says there's a lot of volunteers. I say, well, go. Let's go. Associated Press. Erdogan opposed Netanyahu's attendance at the summit, Turkish official confirms. And so what happened? He was disinvited last week to the summit in Egypt. Now, Turkey's supposed to be one of the great defenders, you see. Here's what the emir of Qatar said. Ready? This is today. And he says it in their biggest meeting of the year. Excuse me. This is the emir of Qatar, our new best friend. What has taken place on the Gaza Strip over the past 2 years amounts to genocide, a term that encapsulates all atrocities. It is regrettable that international legitimacy remains incapable of enforcing its respect when it comes to the tragedy of our brotherly Palestinian people. And remember, they poured $1.8 billion into Hamas, which is now slaughtering Palestinian civilians who haven't joined up with Hamas. We hereby reaffirm our condemnation of all Israeli violations and practices in Palestine. It's not Palestine. Particularly the transformation of the Gaza Strip into an area unfit for human life. The continued breaches of the ceasefire, which they blame now on Israel. This is Qatar, our mediator. The expansion of settlements in the West Bank and the ongoing attempts to Judaize Al-Haram al-Sharif. We also reaffirm that the Gaza Strip is an integral part of the Palestinian territories and of the unified state of Palestine. So this is all libel, this is all attack, this is all sleazy. And this is the main country we're relying on, Qatar, to deal with Hamas. Qatar is already spending money on hospitals and schools in the parts of Gaza that are actually protected by the IDF. 52% of Gaza is protected by the IDF. That's the only relatively safe part. Nobody's wanting to go into the Hamas-controlled areas. And Qatar is doing that for a reason, as one expert pointed out not long ago. Because by controlling the educational system and controlling the hospitals, they control the population. And that's the goal for Qatar. They don't do this out of the goodness of their hearts. It is a terror state. That's what it is. A terror state. We're coming upon the 250th birthday of the United States, and it has me thinking, what will America look like 250 years from now? My friends at the Heritage Foundation want to know what you think. What policies should America prioritize? What principles should carry us into the decades ahead? As America enters a new golden age, Heritage recognizes that this is the time to take stock and to be intentional about how we shape the future of America. And they can't do it without your input. So please go to heritage.org/LEVIN and let them know what you think is important. Without patriots like you stepping up and speaking up for what you believe in, America as we know it can't survive for another 250 years. Please go to heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/LEVIN. Take the survey on America's future. This survey takes less than 10 minutes to complete, but it is critical for making sure that the America we pass on to future generations is an America we're proud of. Go to heritage.org/Levin today. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation. Now, a central part of this in Phase 2, and we've talked about this many times, it was always my concern the language was relatively ambiguous, and it's the difficult part, was Hamas. What's going to happen to Hamas? I asked over and over again. How is Hamas going to be disarmed? How is Hamas going to be removed? And I don't think that's been figured out yet. We're not going to put boots on the ground. That's good. The Arab countries and Muslim countries, I'm reading everything I can get my hands on. I'm listening to everything I can hear. And I'm not seeing any of them step up. Not one of them. In fact, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain want nothing to do with this as long as Hamas has any power whatsoever. The dirty little secret is Saudi Arabia hates Qatar and vice versa. And vice versa. Now, the president is aware of this. We pulled together a list here of how many times he has posted on True Social his concerns about Hamas. And I don't want to go back a year or or 6 months or anything like that, but most recently. September 3rd, September 7th, September 15th, October 3rd, October 4th, October 14th, October 16th, and of course today, October 21. The vice president talked about naysayers out there today. There are naysayers on this plane, naysayers, but I have a very positive view of what's taken place. He just showed up today. He's very positive about the progress. It's going to take time. It's complex. Well, that's true. It is going to take time, and it is complex. But just because people raise serious concerns, they see them, they hear them, and they understand them. Doesn't mean they're naysayers. It means quite the opposite, that they're prudential. They're realists. They use their brains. That would be somebody like me. The question has always been, what's going to happen to Hamas? And I can predict to you right now, and I don't even do predictions, but I will predict right here. Unless and until Hamas is eliminated, the eternal peace will not be an eternal peace. The best they can hope for is to keep Hamas caged off in that part of Gaza, away from the other part of Gaza, in Israel's border. That's not what the peace deal says. But to me, if this is the route that's being taken, that will be the outcome, or worse. There's no way in hell Israel is going to allow Turkey to have troops in its country, given that Erdogan is a Islamist. He's a genocidal murderer. He wants to destroy the state of Israel. He's made that clear. He has threatened Israel militarily and economically. So that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Saudi Arabia's not jumping in. UAE's not jumping in. Bahrain is so small, I don't even know if they have an army. They're certainly not jumping in. Qatar's not jumping in. Jordan's not jumping in. So who's jumping in? I just would like to know. And now one of these countries would actually take a Palestinian, you might recall. And none of them are offering to take any Palestinians right now. So it is complex, very complicated. And reality is very important. Prudence is very, very important. And apparently nobody cares about the lives of Palestinians anymore except the Israelis. You don't hear a single Arab country talking about it. You don't hear a single Muslim country talking about it. You barely even hear our own country talking about it.